Thank you very much. Pleasure to come here and talk about a very exciting project that's here right in the city. For those of you that are out of the Bay Area and coming up, I'll try to keep it sort of grounded so where this project actually is. There's an amazing amount of mega public works infrastructure happening here right in the city when you add in all the Doyle Drive projects, the Central Subway, and then the Transbay Terminal project, and that's what I'm here to talk about. So the Transbay Terminal, it's the hub, and it's been the hub since the 1930s of where all the transit services and agencies from the Bay Area go for in the Bay Area. Over 11 different transit agencies, and all come to the hub to go. But that old project, that old building, if any of you remember it, it definitely had met its lifespan, and it was time to get a new image, new vision for something that was worthy of San Francisco. To get it oriented where this project is for you, now, it's not too far from here. If you're looking at, you see a red circle there. We're sort of in the lower left of that circle. Right now as we speak, the project is in the rectangular area where it's called out. And in the right-hand area, I'll reference the Caltrain station because that's all part of our project. The Transbay Terminal project isn't just the Transbay Terminal itself. We're only in phase one. Phase one consists of the new Transbay Center, which is basically bordered by Beale Street to 2nd, Mission to Howard in the south of Market area. It also includes the bus ramps that will tie in the area in green. That's also part of the project, all part of phase one, which is what we're in right now, a fully funded $1.89 billion program to get this facility open by the end of 2017. The rest of it, there's a phase two, an unfunded part, but it is part of the vision and is basically 65% complete, is the tunnel that actually ties Caltrain, which is at 4th and Townsend. And Caltrain, for you that don't know, is basically a rail system that goes up and down the peninsula from the Santa Clara Valley all the way up to 4th and Townsend, the south of Market area. Well, part of our plan is to ultimately bring it all the way to the transit center. And I'll show you how that's going to happen. Here's the vision. The vision shows it very different than what it was. It's greenscape. It's a beautiful facility right in, as we call it, the Transbay neighborhood, as it's starting to become, and I'll explain why when I get to the video at the end. It also shows the bus ramp. If you are in the Bay Area and you notice, there's going to be a cable stay bridge on our project that goes over Howard Street, right in the south of Market area. So I'm very excited about that. Having a cable stay project is bridge is part of our project. But this is what the vision. This is where it's at in proximity to the Bay Bridge. This breaks down what our project will look like. The transit center itself has 5 levels to it. The lowest level is for that ultimate, that tunnel when it comes from the Caltrain station at 4th and Townsend. It's going to bring rail there. Caltrain. Which part of Caltrain coming through there is electrification. Caltrain's well on their way getting their electrification project underway by 2019, and then high-speed rail. And we'll be ready for Caltrain when it comes, at the time. And then right above that, it's like a lower concourse, sort of a waiting area. And then there's ground level. There's going to be a lot of retail that's going to be part of it. You can just imagine some of the retail stores that'll be in our building when we're all done of these 5 stories. And the buses, similar to the way it used to be, you were up on an upper level when the buses came in. It's going to be the same way. We're going to be on the second level there above ground. And then the difference, though, I think the major difference between all the aesthetics is there's going to be a rooftop park. A rooftop park because this is truly going to be a neighborhood when we're all said and done by the end of 2017. And any of you that are working in that area, you know how much that neighborhood's changing and how it's becoming more residential. And not just business and commercial. But there's a 5.5-acre park that's going to be on top of our building, plus all the other parks that are going to be added as part of the project. So this is the vision, but we got to get there, of course. So now I'm going to go into how we're going to construct this. If you peel away all the architectural components of it, this is what the structural pieces look like. And for the most part, in this picture, is some of the projects that are out there today. We actually have, the area in red now is Skanska's contract. The area in white, the lower part, is Shimmick. The area in blue is Balfour. There's many different components out there, and I'll go through each one of those contracts. But it's all starting to build as we get there. So this is where the focus is this is the heavy lifting of the phase 1 section here. So breaking down that picture even more, that lower section, the area in white, that's what we call the train box. The FRA, with the FRA grant, we were able to add that to the project. Initially, it wasn't even in the project. When Webcor Obayashi joint venture was awarded the CMGC contract. So we have a CMGC contract set up where Webcor Obayashi, goes everything from the constructability, bid package delivery, to actually doing a true CMGC component to the project and managing all of the subtrade packages. And then as you look at that, the area in blue, that was one of our first items that we did out there where D&D under Balfour Beatty's subtrade package put a soldier pile wall, CDSM soldier pile wall. And then we show the micropiles. Micropiles are very key. In fact, if you notice, you'll be like, where's your foundation? Where's your CIDH piles? Where's your heavy, what's going to keep that, that building in place? Quite frankly, it's the opposite. The hydrostatic pressures, the water pressures in this area are so powerful that we have to put in 1,900 micropiles just to hold the box down from floating up. It's a boat section, just like some of any of you from the Sacramento area when they had a boat section right through downtown Sacramento when they did some of that freeway work a few years back. Same exact thing. So our timeline and our breakdown for the project is we go through 2017. We've excavation. This month we are finishing our excavation. Huge milestone. Below grade structure. That's what we're in the middle of right now. And then eventually here, very shortly, in July, we'll truly be coming out of the ground. I would say summer. You'll start seeing that in the news as we start coming out, of that very large hole that's been in the South Market area. And then after that, you can just envision all the exterior enclosures, all the glazing, all the architectural features, and ultimately all the finish work and civil work around the perimeter to get to a point where we're running buses in late 2017 through the new facility. Milestones, right now as you look through all our critical path, really the critical path right now is structural steel. If you've ever been on a structural steel project, you know how it is with shop drawings, machining drawings, getting first elements cast, everything, all the components that go into doing a steel structure. That's what we're in the middle right now because most of the concrete work is well on its way with the train box. This is an important part I want to get out there. We have many trade packages that are out for bid, and we have many more packages that are still coming. So that's why I want to make sure that everyone understands. Right now, we have 4 packages that are out to bid right now. The structural concrete, which is all the structural steel in that picture that I showed you. There's structural concrete elements like the bus deck concrete to all the various connections to the various neighboring properties. We got all our curtain walls and skylights, all of that, that glazing and packages at 8.1. That's in advertisement right now, exterior awning. This is going to be our signature painted aluminum or painted metal clad shape as we go, as it goes an awning around the project. That's in advertisement. And then the bus ramps. All of these open very shortly. The middle two, 8.1 and 8.2, those bids open next week, so I don't know if anybody's bidding on those right now. That's coming soon. And then 7.2, that structural concrete one, comes in February 11th, and then the bus ramps, which is the cable stay signature bridge, is bids open on March 6th. Here are some more out there. Request for qualifications. What we've been doing on this project is we do have a 2-step process. You have to be qualified. We have a pre-qualifying process, so you start well in advance to pre-qualify anyone who's interested, and it makes it a lot easier on the day of the actual bid opening. So we've received qualifications on all of these 6 different subtrade packages, and all of these are going to be going out on the street for bid next week. And you can find all this information on our website at transbaycenter.org. There's a very good listing of every one of these, reference documents, who's actually pre-qualified will actually be listed there, and a lot of good information. So now, going into a little bit more, diving into the individual packages that are out to construction, some good construction photos now. BSC stands for buttress, shoring, and excavation. That is the Balfour contract that was awarded to them way back in 2010 now, December of 2010, for $187 million. The excavation is done this month, and all they'll be doing over the next year and a half is removing bracing. If you haven't seen the pictures or are aware of the project at all, we've got a really large hole out there. We've got a 600,000 yard hole, cubic yard hole. I've heard some stats like you could hold 50,000 Mini Coopers in, or 125 Olympic-sized pools fit in our 4-block-long, 65-deep hole at this point. And Balfour has just completed that. In fact, this photo sort of shows. This is as of January 21st, and this is, when you have that kind of excavation, one of the biggest things you want to keep track of is progress, and this is, green is good. Means green has been progressing, and green is all the mat slab, basically the bottom of the train box. As it progresses, we've been progressing from left to right, which is west to east in the orientation of the project itself. And we've had some very good success. In fact, the excavation is about 2 or 3 months ahead of schedule, so that's a good thing. This is a good picture of the excavation. Balfour is working off of a trestle that basically goes down the middle of that large hole. It's sort of with that CDSM wall, the deep soil mixed soldier pile wall that's the perimeter. They've excavated out all that with pretty much a long arm excavator that has a lot of passes to get to that point, because it's a lot of material. And a 4-level cross-lot strutted shoring system. There's a lot of steel out there, and it's all got to come out here over the next year and a half. This shows all those micropiles. Drill Tech has installed, I think, about 1,600 of those 1,900 micropiles at this point, not one single failure. Drill Tech's been doing a great job out there with all this as they go in. The micropiles are average from about 75 to 95 feet deep. One part of us getting a LEED Gold rating on our building is the fact that we have all this geothermal piping. We have over 10 miles of piping that goes underneath all the train box, which will eventually go up to the chillers and all the HVAC systems, and that keeps a constant temperature to the water at 54 degrees, or the temperature that's exactly at the ground underneath the train box. And that water will continue to flow through that. And it always, which any of you are familiar with that, to have a constant temperature to water like this is amazing, because we're going to have radiant cooling and heating for a lot of the main facilities in the building itself. So this is part of it, is our, which we needed for our LEED Gold with a very large open building as we have. It makes it very difficult for climate, and we've been able to attain that. So once all that geothermal's in, we get a mud slab placement in. Basically, even though it is 65 feet down and it hasn't rained for a very long time, there's obviously a lot of groundwater down there that we've had to keep pumped out of there. And it's you put like a 5-inch slab section so that you can, when we eventually do get to all the rebar and all the permanent work above that, it keeps it nice and clean. And that's what Balfour. That's one of their last steps in their permanent work. Jump into one of the next contracts is Shimmick. Shimmick is doing all the concrete for most of the train box. They have a $113 million contract that was awarded in 2012, and they have been working out there. For the most part, it seemed like the last 6 months have been when they really got started, even though they were awarded the contract. Feels like about a year ago now. One of the biggest components that they've been working on is the waterproofing. We have a Grace pre-proof product that has been very beneficial to the work out there. In fact, I want to backtrack at something. I mentioned somebody I think was from Airco, and geothermal. Is that, I was actually, there's some of the people that are actually, some of you out there may be working on this project, so it was sort of nice to hear that. Turner, I heard, was here too, but Steve wasn't able to make it yet. But waterproofing, a lot of waterproofing. We have a train box. We do not want water down there. If you ever rode Mooney or any of the places, there's a lot of water pouring through there. And one of our goals of our executive director, Maria Ayurdi-Kaplan, was quality, 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 and we don't want water down in that train box. And this is very important, is the waterproofing. And Shimmick has been diligently now pouring mat foundations. Basically it's a 5-foot thick concrete slab that the trains will run on. That's basically what our mat slab is. They've got about 34,000 yards of concrete down so far. On average, in the months of October and November, we were doing every Saturday morning, we were putting in about 4,000 yard pours. And we had one 6,000-yard pour, so it kept Cemex pretty busy with 4 plants in the area, including the East Bay, to supply that in a short period of time. So we're about 2/3 with those mat slabs as we progress along, and that's going to be another milestone when we get all the way across to the east end to get the mat slab in. Once that floor is in, you start going up. We got walls and columns that go, and this is Shimmick's forms. They've got the forms, rolling forms that will do sections of wall, and as you start doing the walls, and as you're able to get the mat slab in, that's when the shoring obviously starts coming out. So that's the one component that Balfour is working in conjunction with Shimmick is as Shimmick progresses, Balfour has to pull stuff out of their way, and me as the owner I look at Webcor to make sure they're coordinate between the two of them, because you can just imagine that sometimes the challenge is between 2 separate contracts where you do need your GC to coordinate. But it is progressing well, and all that, Shimmick has been doing a great job with the concrete. And of course the columns. These pictures are showing we're basically down in the hole, 65 feet down, and the first columns are about 25 feet high. Which, if you can envision, that's the clearance for when the trains do come through at some point, and then right above that, we'll start seeing, once they get all those struts out of the way, we'll start seeing some false work that Shimmick will put up to start building the next level, sort of almost like in traditional bridge building. You'll see another slab coming up, an 8-inch slab above that. And that's what Shimmick is. This is, Balfour's. This is some of the pictures of them removing. Now, coming back to this picture, I wanted to use it to show what our most current contract is doing. Everything in red, and also the areas in that, like sort of the tannish area, the tubular areas there. That's all under the Skanska contract that was just awarded this past July for $189 million. That project's been mostly in shop drawing stage, which steel. There's a lot of steel that's going to be coming to the job site, and that I want to highlight actually that area on the exterior, the round sections. The straight sections are coming through Oregon Iron Works and various different places. I think even some of them are coming from Sandusky, Ohio. We do have a Buy America clause. We have federal money. So every bit of our steel is coming from the U.S. So it's Oregon Iron Works, Thompson Metal Fab, Herrick. We're actually going also to the Midwest in the South to go see Bradkin. Bradkin is a foundry that is doing all our castings. At each one where you have those round sections that come to a node, and each one of those nodes are being fabricated by Bradkin either in their Kansas office or their New Orleans facility. And we have 304 of those to make. It's an interesting, it's probably a process that's been around for quite a while. It's done in sand molds, and they basically create a pattern out of wood. And then from there, they make a negative out of a sand mold, that eventually gets poured with 2,900 Fahrenheit degree steel that eventually turns into one of these nodes. Most of them are much larger than us, a lot heavier than a car. And the one actually on the left, almost when they line them up, it almost looks like, I don't know if you know, like the Easter Island, you know, when they have all the like, sections there. That's sort of what it looks like. But they're all taller than you. They're basically, those are some of the smaller sections that are about 7 or 8 feet high. And Bradkin goes through, and they have to do, that old picture was, you know, there's a lot of work to this. When they come out of those molds, I don't know if you've ever seen how nodes are, you know, the castings are made in molds. They come out pretty gritty, and there's a lot of work that has to go into grinding them, welding spots, grinding some more, cleaning them up, making them architecturally acceptable. Locally, you'll probably see some of that stuff on the news. Shifting off of the transit center, that's not the only work that is happening right now. I use this picture as the cable stay, which is, if you're familiar with the South of Market area at all, this is Howard Street as you would head towards the water or the Embarcadero. And that is the access for the buses from the Bay Bridge. And they'll get off at Fremont Street, and then you follow along the old path where the old bus ramp used to go, but you won't loop around like you used to. You'll go in and out of the same area at the southwest corner of the new transit center. And it'll have a much, much different look with a very large span. And then this is another area, another park that will be added to the neighborhood in this picture. Working around the neighborhood as well, we've also done a lot of utility relocations. As you can imagine, when you have a big hole in the ground, you got to clear a lot of utilities if you're in a downtown setting. We did that. Finishing up, AWSS is San Francisco's. They have an auxiliary water supply line for fire support. So you have to reroute that around. Amazing, the guys that have to work that, it's very, very frustrating work when you move 1 foot and you find something new, and you just continue to find as you work through going down. This happens to be a picture from Mission Street, and you can just imagine all the utilities on Mission Street that you have to snake a new pipe through, much larger 16-inch pipe. And this is, and I use this as a heads up, you know, when I'm going to show a video here shortly that'll depict this. But not only is the transit center happening, but there are at least 7 other projects literally within 3 blocks of the transit center that are in some stage of development. It's just unbelievable, and I highly recommend, if you have a chance to drive in that area while you're around here, to go check that out, because it's unbelievable how much. And then when you see in the video, you'll see all the towers that are in progress right now. And then, of course, there'll be the signature neighborhood, Transbay neighborhood, which is the Transit Tower, which Clark is a part of, is going to be over 1,000 feet tall. It's almost 1,100 feet tall. And that's, to put it into perspective, you know, that's, you know, the pyramid is 500 feet, almost 500 feet less than that, you know, maybe 400 feet less. So it's almost 400 feet taller than the Transamerica Pyramid is being built right now as we speak. So as a quick wrap up with my construction, we're very busy. 2014 is a very busy year. 2015 gets really busy. We're going to be, not only the packages that I said here today, we actually have about another 25 more. Webcor Obayashi is going to be putting out 35 packages this year, a couple more next year, and that gets then we'll be fully out in construction in 2015. So 2015 is really our big one.